Hey guys, Ramblin Bob here. Just a couple questions from a couple scribers. Pretty good questions. Any question is a good question. Send in your questions, and if I can't have the answer, I'll find it for you. I'll really do a lot of homework. Okay, so the first question is, does the AC charger ever go to zero? So when you're charging with an AC charger or a solar charger, the short answer is no. And the reason is these systems are designed with a charge-through feature. So what happens is, as you're charging the system, say this battery's at 100%. Well, then the charger should stop, right? Well, not exactly. What happens is, as you're using the energy, even though the battery is full, it's being replaced right away by the charger. So it's kind of replenishing it. Imagine, boy, in a dream world for me, if you had a soda pop and as you were drinking it, the can was filling it as you were drinking it. Oh, that's a perfect world. But that's the answer to the question about the zero. You'll never really see it at zero. Matter of fact, there's only one time you're going to see it at zero, and I'll show you. Right now, the solar is almost done for the day. It's literally not strong enough to even bring in, not even 1 watt. But watch when I hook. I have 1,000, actually I got 1,200 watts hooked to this system. Now notice it says 0 watts. So that would kind of be the answer that he was looking for, or they were looking for. But now notice it went off. That means the voltage outside is just not enough to keep the MPPT controller and the BMS active. So basically once it goes under a certain wattage. But when you plug into the wall, you don't have that problem because your wall is constant, hence the grid. It never really goes down, hopefully, and it never really goes less than what it's designed to do. Usually a grid is about 120 volts, and it usually never falls below that unless there's a problem, obviously, in the grid. So that's question number one. Great question, guys. Great question. Okay, number two. So being that PECRON re-released the same model with a couple updated features on it, one being the corrected 100 watt USB-C, now it actually puts out 100 watts. The original one only put out 65 watts. And the reason for that is, the reason for that is the 20 volt at 5 amp protocol was not in the actual board, so they were able to update the boards, hence quote version 1, version 2. So that's all taken care of. You'll never see the 65s again unless maybe you bought a used one of these. All these have been updated and fixed, I was told. And I was confirmed that by a lot of people that have these systems. Now, the capacity for version 2. Now, the other thing was the 110 volt output. Mine is an original system, one of the first ones that PECRON released. This is what we called version 1. There's really not a version 1 or version 2, guys. Sorry to make all that headache. Well, see, there kind of is. So there was this version, and then they fixed a couple features on that version. So if you want to call it version 2 or update 2 or whatever, it's the only one they sell now is the newer one. So you don't have to worry about hunting down, the older one to the newer one. So, okay, so same system. So on mine, it's still 110 volts output. So my capacity rating is really good. And a lot of people that did reviews on these were getting really high capacity ratings because of that 110 volt output. The updated models have 120 volt outputs. Now let me tell you why this is good, and let me tell you why it's bad. Let's do the good first. All electronics, if not most of them, like and were designed to run anywhere between 110 to 120 volts. Usually, that's usually the sweet spot. But a lot of equipment, a lot of electrical, especially sound equipment, it likes to run at 120 because the voltage is stronger and it just works cleaner. So to give you an idea, the lower the voltage, the more the heat, and it's harder to push that lower voltage to the line, which means in a speaker world, it pulls your power down, and then you get more fuzz and static. You've heard that on stereos before. Then the other thing was the new ones have 120 volt. So the 120 volt, when you convert this 24 volt system up to 120 volt, you possibly and probably will lose a little bit, just a tad bit of more of your capacity out of your cells or your battery, because you're converting to a higher voltage. So anytime you take energy and convert it to another form of energy, it takes energy. It's kind of common sense in a lot of industries that use any electronics. So, you know, if you have a $10 $1 bills and you convert it to a 10, that takes energy to convert that to a $10 bill. It would take less energy to convert it to $9 bill if there was such a thing. Does that make sense? So in those two instances, all worked out. They have that all worked out. So I personally would love to have 120 volt volt output on the AC outlets, because my equipment would run much better and you don't have to force as hard with the you know, like the gain and everything to kind of give that bump. I don't like using gain much. Then on the batteries, the new cables, I've been testing my cables, the modded ones, for, oh boy, I don't know, it's got to be 2 weeks at least, maybe. The system works great. So those three things are the three things that were updated that I know of personally that are all fixed. So the capacity thing, trust me, I'll take the 120 over 110. I'll lose some capacity, that's fine. My equipment will be happier, especially computers. They like 120 better than 110. Stuff with, you know, real touchy circuit boards. They like that good voltage. And then the third one, now this is a weird one. This is one I can't answer, so I'm asking you guys for advice, or maybe your experience. So I had a scriber ask about some form of modem noise. Okay, I don't know if you guys even know what I'm talking about, because I kind of don't. I know what a modem does. The 56K modem, you know, it's like, big on. You guys remember that old thing? It was almost like a language in a way on old 56K modems, or 14.4s or 28.8s, or what was it, 9.6, or, oh my gosh, I'm showing my age, 2.4 baud. Oh my God, it'll take you a week to read an email. Okay, anyways, so in this part over here, okay, one scriber had said that they're hearing like a modem noise inside this little area here. Now, this is where your output fans are. Now, being a sound guy, I know a lot about sound. I've been a sound engineer for a long time. So what I think it is, and maybe, you know, people can correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, that's why we're here, you know, to work out the, you know, the questions that everybody has. So I have two theories. One theory is it's some form of communication board, like, you know, communicating between the motherboard and maybe the MPPT controller board or the inverter board, or, you know, maybe it's some form of like a background noise, almost like a communication that, you know, when you charge it, like it's talking to each other. You know what I mean? And then what happens is a fan can really emphasize that. Fans, okay, to give you an idea, do you guys remember standing in the doorway or the window and you had the fan in your house and you would go, I'm your father, Luke, or some crazy thing, you know what I mean? So, you know, like, I am a space alien, and it would, your voice would vibrate. So fans modify the sound waves that come out of your mouth. So what I'm thinking is what you're hearing is maybe not as loud as what you think, because it's being enhanced and modified by the fans. The other theory that I had was possibly, if you guys ever had an old laptop, you know how the cooling fans sometimes are off balance kind of thing? So that, you know, you have four screws usually on a fan. They're very small screws in the corner. And if you were to tighten one a little bit too tight, just a hair, it kind of bends the plastic just enough to where you have a very strange, like a rubbing, you know, with the fan, you know what I mean? Where it goes, like it would sound like this, right? You hear the scratching? And the reason it's timed perfectly is because every revolution it makes, it would go, right? But now as you're using the system more and more with your charging or pulling, you know, your draw is heavy, it's going like this. So that's the only two theories that I can think of. And then, of course, that sound is being enhanced by the fan. You guys can give me your opinions on what you think, but that was a question I can't answer. I just have theories about that. So I figure we can all work together and figure out the answer to that question. The system works fine. You know, the scriber told me their system works fine. They just hear this strange noise every once in a while. And I just wonder if it is either a communications board being enhanced by the sound of the fan, or if it's the other idea that I had, was a fan that might be just a hair bit tight on one of the screws. And then as it ramps up, you hear, you know, and then like, because it's, you know, like uneven, if you will, or tight, you might hear this. You know what I mean? As it kind of wobbles in there, you know, like almost like an off-centered tire on your car. It makes that shimmy sound, and you can hear it like da 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 da. There's like a special sound to that, you know, when your tire is off balance and you got to get it rebalanced. And you know, your car line and all that stuff. But you guys can let me know, because that's a question I have. I've never heard it. I've never heard that sound come out of our machines. You can hear our machine. It's totally silent. So I've never heard it myself when I charge it. Matter of fact, if you hang on 1 second, what I'll do is I'll plug in both chargers. And I should have had this ready. I didn't think I was going to do it. Let me plug in one here. Okay. Sorry, guys. Still trying to clean up my office here, my workshop. So I'm going to plug in one side, and we're going to shove in about 550 watts on that side, and then we're going to shove in 550 watts on the other side. Now that's a pretty good amount of pull. Right? So then we have that one in, and then we have this one in. Let's see. There you go. Okay. So we got 550 going in, and now you're going to see that ramp up. Hopefully you can see that okay. 975, 10. So we're almost at that 1100 mark. So this is when they said that they heard the noises, when the input was so at its strongest point. It usually maxes out about 1100. That extra watt, I think that's a bonus to that we get. Oh, look at extra 2 bonuses. Yoo-hoo! 3. Holy crap, it's going up even higher. I'll take it. I'll take it. But now that we're putting in 1100 plus in the system through the AC, let's check and see if that noise is on mine, because like I said, I've never heard it. I'm going to try to be as quiet as I can, which is tough for me, guys. But I'm going to try to be as quiet as I can. This is the fan. I want you to listen with the microphone of this GoPro. This is a good camera, so it's got a good mic on there. Do you guys hear anything? Like very, 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 very faint. Kind of like, I don't know, maybe like a static sound. But I've never heard it myself. I mean, I don't know if that's the static sound coming from the chargers, or because the fans are turning. You know, see, now the fans are kind of kicking on a little bit. So I don't know if that was kind of, you know, the airflow. You know, when you disrupt airflow, there's a noise. Yeah, I don't hear. Let's try again. Here, I'll let you guys listen. Here we go. Here's the fans, okay, right there. Okay, yeah, see, I don't hear anything. Now, I've been a sound guy for a long time, and even though my ears are pretty beat up, they're pretty sensitive to noises. Like, I can hear across the room really good, and I think that's just because my ears have taken so much training, if you will, over the years, that I can hear, like when people whisper, I hear that, you know, and it's weird. I don't know if my ears enhanced over the years, or I don't even know. I don't even know. But see, we're still drawing that 1100, and I don't hear anything on the system. But that was what they said. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it at that, because I don't really have an answer for that one. If you guys have heard this sound before, or if yours does this, you know, chime in and let us know, because that's how we always figure out the questions. It's very tough to get an answer from PECRON, because the language divide is always tough to understand. So we kind of help each other when we can. All right, guys. Well, I mean, we tested it. I don't hear it. leave your comments, man. I'd really like to hear from you. Seriously, leave a comment. If you have an answer or a theory or just even a question, please leave a comment. Thanks, guys. All right, Ramblin' Bob, I'll talk to you later. Bye.